Hey guys, this is John, and I'm doing a 5-minute video. ICC has this cool new thing with grace time. You get a 10-second grace period. Both sides do, actually. So it doesn't count any time that's burned off your clock within 10 seconds of the game starting, which is kind of a nice feature. So definitely helps people who record videos on ICC. Sometimes I'm like fumbling to get the video started and I'm burning time on my clock, adjusting things last minute. All right, I played this guy before, Soft Rain. I had a win against him. Don't know who it is because he's unknown. Just go A4 here. This position I'll play E4. I was actually just talking about this line with a student today. My student had a game where black played bishop D7 in this position. He plays knight BD7. I think I'll play rook A3. This is a useful move for white. Rook's always defended now. We'll see if I can get him to take on B5 so I can recapture with my bishop in one go. Problem oftentimes for black is they kind of run out of useful moves to make around here. Because he doesn't want to take on B5, but eventually it may be a necessity. So I'll do this. Let's see how far he's willing to prolong this capture. He might go bishop B7. Bishop B7 is probably fine. Okay. That move might allow me to go knight D4. This pawn is very precariously placed. Knight D4, he can go knight C5 and hit my E-pawn. I could play queen D4, couldn't I? Queen D4 is kind of greedy, it seems. Knight D2? Knight D2 and just go after it? Choosing from good options is never easy. Okay, I'm just going to play knight D4. I really don't want to get sucked into the problem I had against Yardbird a couple games ago of starting to think in a position that you know is good for you. Sometimes you just got to go with it. Go with what you think. I'm just going to take that pawn on C4. I mean, I lose the E4 pawn, but I figure I'll drop my knight into C6, and I think I have good play, so I'm willing to take that concession. Yeah, let's take here. When he takes back, I'll just drop this in. Special delivery, knight on C6. If he takes on B5, it's an interesting question how I should take back. Because pawn takes is tempting, even though bishop takes seems better. Or it seems more normal, at least. I think I will take with the pawn. I'll have double B pawns, but I like the idea of having a pawn on B5 rather than my bishop on B5. Soft Rain from Costa Rica. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. And he can take on A3. He does not. This looks like a great position for me. I'll just pre-move this capture. Don't know if he'll do that, but he probably needs to undermine this knight because he's not going to be willing to just take the knight on C6 and give me a very strong protected pass pawn or two. So he needs to do some undermining. Oh, wow. Just as I said he wouldn't do that, he did. Which way to recapture? Both ways look pretty good. I'm going to take this way. So now I have two protected pass pawns. I think he pretty much has to go E6 now. If he doesn't play E6, this is going to be a field day for my position and my pawns. He needs to go E6 and D5, try to push me back a little bit. So he does play it. I could play bishop E3, although I lose this pawn if I do that. So maybe just queen C2. And after d5, I'll play the bishop back to d3. Seems normal. He's down a pawn. I've got these two monstrous pawns on the 5th and 6th ranks. I have the bishop pair. He doesn't really have any huge threats to speak of. So I don't want to write his position off because I've done that before and it's come back to bite me, but I should win this game. Okay, knight d6. Bishop f4, he plays e5. Queen c5 makes sense. Probably do that. Yeah. Now b6 is a threat. He can't play knight c8 to blockade because his rook would hang. So he might have to take first on a3 if he wants to do that. But taking on a3 entails giving me another protected pass pawn, or pass pawn. I can advance it, and yeah, I'll have an A, B, C pawn duo. You don't see that too often. This is really, really tough for black. I mean, he doesn't really have much to do. These pawns almost speak for themselves here. He does take. Yeah, this is about the only thing he can do, but it's not going to be enough. Okay, bishop f8. Can I play bishop f4 now? Probably, because he takes on b5. I take on c7. If he takes my queen, I take his rook. Yeah, so I can do this. It's a pretty brutal pin. Rook c1. Rook c1, then he can take on c5. Yeah, he can do that then. b6, no. Let's just go here. If my pawns get temporarily stalled, it's not the end of the world. He's not threatening e5 because I can take on d5 with check. Well, I still could have just taken that pawn, couldn't I? Yeah, these pawns are so good. I'm just going to make a real easy decision, or simple decision. Let's do this. Just for the sake of making it easy on myself. 2 pawns on the 6th rank are worth a rook, right? That's how the adage goes. So now I've got threats of bishop a6 or just c7, and he resigned. Okay. So I mentioned before that I think e3 is a good weapon against the Benko. And I used to be a Benko player. E3 was never a line I was like that scared of, but I never could get an advantage against it. So that's why I've adopted it as white. Lately, I've been getting a lot of approaches from black where they don't take on b5. Because one of the main lines is to capture and then play queen a5 check. Or bishop b7. But it seems like a lot of people are choosing to delay or avoid the capture on b5. And like I said, I had just looked at this line earlier today with one of my students who's about 2200. And he had played a game where his opponent went bishop d7. And I think my student played h3. And we were looking it up in the database. And there's also a game by Ivanchuk where Ivanchuk just played knight e2, bishop e2 in this position. And it seemed like white was scoring very well. So it's a little unfortunate white has to play e3 and e4. taking 2 tempos to get the pawn up there, but that's just the nature of this system, playing e3 on move 5. Because you do want the pawn on e4 a lot of times, eventually, so... I didn't like his setup very much. I think knight bd7 is already maybe not so accurate. And c4 is asking too much of his position, I think. Maybe he should just play bishop b7 and try to develop. Maybe bishop b7 and then take a stab at my center with e6 to come. Seems like a more active plan for him. Let's just see how the computer evaluates this. Likes white. Not surprising. White's up a pawn. Computers like pawns. Okay, it actually doesn't hate c4 as much as I thought it would. I thought about queen d4, just going after this. Yeah, I looked at like position like this. Maybe it is good for him, or for me. But I'm satisfied with what I did. Knight d4. Here, take. This seemed a straightforward way to play the position, and I was able to get castled quickly too. Yeah, white's advantage is already significant here. I mean, I think taking on c6 is nearly equivalent to resigning, honestly. I think he's got to go for some sort of e6 undermining. I don't know, though. Yeah, it's not fun. He can take here and then play bishop c3 check if he wants, but I'm not even sure I'm that bothered by having to move my king, because I've got the 2 protected passed pawns, the monster knight on c6. He doesn't have enough. So, yep, black will have to rethink the opening strategy in this one. We'll just cruise through this. I don't think the valuation is going to change much. Yeah, a4 is fine. Bishop f4 is fine. Rook c1. I thought if rook c1 he could maybe do this. What did I miss? Take. Oh. Take. Take, take. Oh, okay. Apparently I can't count a little combination there. I thought rook c1 I would run into this move when he was attacking f4. For some reason, when I looked at this line, I assumed he could play knight takes c7 for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. I like made 2 moves for black in my head. Bishop takes c5 and knight takes c7 simultaneously. Strange oversight. But fortunately queen d4 like preserves my advantage. And then I didn't see the hanging pawn here. I just played this move. Yeah, bishop takes d6 I think is just easily winning. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that game. And please leave me any feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys.